What are some of the deeper reasons that people are not getting, they're failing, blatantly honest?
They don't believe in themselves. They don't believe in their ability to succeed because they have consistently thought they have failed because they have done things that are unsustainable consistently over and over and over again. In order to believe in yourself, you have to create these wins for yourself, creating small wins instead of having you do a million things at once. And because you're setting yourself up for failure at that point. The smallest win, doing something that you know you can do consistently every single day. You're going to feel good about yourself. Giving yourself things that you can actually finish and do and win at.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Dieting from the Inside Out. If you are new around here, my name is Jared Hamilton and welcome to the show. This is definitely not my normal background. So I have some really cool stuff about to happen and I'll get into that here in a second. But my guest today is a fucking powerhouse. So my guest today is Beth Feraco. A lot of you guys really follow her and love her and know her. She's been on the show before, but today we're actually doing an in-person podcast with Beth. So that's why my background is different. I'm here on a business trip, but Beth is actually here at the same conference I'm at. So I decided to bring my podcast equipment and bang out some podcast episodes. So you'll see some more guests over the coming weeks that I recorded with while I was here. But Beth is one of them. And we got into so much good shit. We went a little bit all over the place, but Beth is one of the best when it comes to real talk and telling you what you need to hear in order to change your life and stop the struggle once and for all. Because we get into everything. We get into the kind of example you should be setting for your kids when it comes to changing your life and their life. We talk about the right way to lose weight, the wrong way to lose weight. We talk about having proper expectations, how to lose weight the most sustainable way possible, and how to be able to manage your life, go through the holidays and not struggle and keep your head above water and stop sabotaging. Like, we literally went all over the place with today's episode. So that's what we're going to be getting into here in just a second. Now, before we do, definitely a big shout out to the sponsors of the show. Sponsor number one is Flex Pro Meals. And it's one of those things for me that when it comes to Flex Pro, it is so helpful having them in my fridge, because times whether I'm traveling or whether I'm just all over the place that day and schedules are crazy, having food ready to go in my fridge that meets my goals, that has my numbers, that I don't have to think about, is really helpful. And the best part is, for you guys, it's cheaper than going through a drive-through. And if you use my code Hamilton Trained, then it'll save you 20% at checkout. And if you do this during October, it'll actually save you 40%. So definitely go check them out at flexpromeals.com or the link below. And then our second sponsor is First Form. So I think I have on one of the t-shirts again. But First Form, guys, is another one of our sponsors, because supplementation is really important. It is not the end all be all, but if you are not getting what you need from food, that's what supplements are for, whether it's protein or omegas or vitamins, minerals, that kind of stuff. But not all supplements are created equal. That is why we work with First Form, because we want to make sure that you are getting the right products for your money. And we want to make sure that you're not wasting it or just buying shitty products on Amazon just because they're cheap or they taste the least or the most tolerable. So definitely check out what First Form has going on. And if you have questions, I'm always here, and definitely hit the link below for there's a free shipping link in there, but also if there's a video down below, if you aren't quite sure where to get started with supplements, that I walk you through it. But otherwise, let's get into the actual nuts and bolts of today's conversation with Beth. I know you're going to get a lot out of it, and I will talk to you in just a minute. Thanks for doing this, Beth. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Jared.
Is this your first in-person podcast you've ever done?
Yeah. I feel like I'm on Mind Pump.
Wow.
I don't even know what that would feel like.
Statement.
But if it was...
That's a fucking statement. Like, no pressure on mine.
Or who else does some in-person podcasts that I love watching? I don't know. I can't remember. I'm 50. I don't have any words half the time.
I love it. I want to continue talking what we were talking about off camera because I had an idea of what I wanted to talk about, but I think this would be better. So along the lines of what we were talking about, because like when you were on the show last, I knew already I wanted to go a little bit deeper this time.
Yeah.
And because when you were on the show last, I got the most insane amount of feedback. You're definitely one of the favorites. I have DMs right now that's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till Coach Beth comes on.
I love that.
100%. So, but we were talking about, for those listening, about how most kids' issues with their relationship with food are because the parents aren't leading a better example.
Right.
And I can tell you with almost all the women that we work with, everyone has like, I was with mom at Weight Watchers when I was 9, or my mom put this whole good food, bad food, or mom said, oh, I can't control myself.
It always really stems from the mom.
Yeah. So
they learn it from someone.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear your take on that.
Yeah. Like you, we have a lot of women that come to us that their parents have put them on a diet very young, or they will be dieting buddies with their daughter.
That's fucked up.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, come do this
like when they're like
diet
11.
with me. It's like they're treating them as their little best friend and let's diet together. Like, that's no way to start a preteens like relationship with their body, their, food, everything. But I'm doing this challenge right now. And even with me and my son, I have to think about how I talk in front of my son. It's like I'm still sometimes relearning shit that I learned from my mom. So it's like a work in progress, and I'm a lot better now than I was, let's say, 10 years ago.
How old is your son?
He's 11.
Okay.
But I'll actually start with him because I think this is important. Kind of like me walking through his struggles, but also because he's a preteen. He's 11. He started recently, I'd say like a year ago, getting a little, belly fat. And he came to me and said, hey, Mom, my belly seems to be growing and I'm just kind of uncomfortable right now. And I don't understand why this is happening. And I'm like, your body's changing. You're growing. You're prepubescent. And this is what happens, you just have to keep, being a kid and, start, doing things that make you feel strong. So he started getting into jujitsu.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's my shit.
So
Let's go.
So he started doing jujitsu, and I tell you that has changed the entire trajectory of how he feels about himself.
Really?
He's more confident. He has less anxiety. He does not talk about his belly anymore.
That's awesome.
I also got him into strength training, and that's because he asked me, Mom, I want to get stronger and better at jujitsu. Yeah. Can you help me work out? Because I got a gym in the basement. Can you tell me some stuff to do? And so we started doing that, but he wasn't really listening to me. I mean, I'm his mom. He's like, I don't want to do that. That's too hard.
I think you're cool, but he thinks you're lame as fuck.
Yeah. So I said, let's go to the gym that I used to coach at. There's this guy, Mike. He works with kids. And so he goes there twice a week, and he's been doing that for...
That's incredible.
About 6+ months. And I'll tell you, the first session he went in and he came out, he was almost in tears. He was like,
really?
Mike tried to fucking kill me.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, why? He goes, I was doing a 20-pound goblet squat. And I thought I was going to die. I'm like, but you know what? You're going to get stronger. You are going to see that every time you go in, it's not going to be as hard, but you're going to be more, challenged. You're going to lift heavier. And so what do you know now? He's at 45-pound goblet squats at 11, and he fucking loves it.
That's great.
So I think for me, getting him into something that stopped focusing on how his body looked and how it made it feel just changed everything. And now, he cooks with me. He eats dessert. I allow dessert every night. It's nothing is off limits.
Good.
And kids, they really do know when to stop when they're full. We don't have to be like, sorry, do you think you're eating enough? Or do you think there's too much in your plate right now? I think you've had enough. They start to hear those words and it's just kind of negative.
Yeah. Disgusting meanings get attached in everything. When you said that, that he started going to jujitsu, just something that's not weight loss focused, and it changed everything. Yeah. That's actually one of the things that we teach people to do when they need to fix their relationship with exercise is their meanings are fucked up because our meanings associate our emotions, and our emotions dictate, unfortunately, so many people's actions.
Yeah.
When I was in a workout slump for 5 years, I think, for the last 5-ish years, I've been in a slump where I've just not enjoyed training. But the only meaning I attached is I want to get better at jujitsu. Yeah. Because I love training, I love rolling, but I was just 5 year span of not being motivated. But we can't rely on motivation ever. Yeah. It's like every fitness coach I know is not motivated to train because you know what I mean?
No.
but changing the meaning. We had someone ask the other day in my community, hey, how do I just do not look forward to it. I go, if I offered to give you $1,000 for a workout, would you do it? Would you be a little more pep in your step? And she's like, fuck yeah. And I said, well, why? And we had a conversation. And it was because she change the outcome that she was looking for.
Yeah.
She was more excited about the $1,000 than the goblet squats. So I'm like, you just do this all the time. Like, why are you even here? You want to look better? You want to feel better? You want to live longer? You want to be a better example to your kids? Maybe we need to focus on that stuff more and less of like exercise is punishment and stuff.
Right.
That's great though that he's doing well with that. Is that the same kind of mentality that you have with when working with like 58-year-old Janet who?
Yeah, and so I think we came upon the subject because of some of the women in a challenge group I have right now have some children that are struggling at 11 years old with their body image and their relationship with food already. So where does that stem from? We have to ask, okay, so you're here with us right now. How are you talking in front of your daughter about yourself and about food? I think women don't understand that their kids are consistently watching. I don't care if they're 2, they're watching. I just saw a video on Instagram the other day of a woman weighing herself, and in the background was a little girl. She was, the mom was like patting her belly as she's weighing herself. And this video was about her starting her fat loss journey. Had nothing to do with the kid, but the little girl too was standing there, seeing her mom pat her belly, weigh herself, and kind of like be sad. Wow. And I'm thinking, this is how your daughter is perceiving you. She wants to be with you or be like you. Your kids, like, you are their idol. That's all they know. Right. So that's what you're representing to them at such a young age. That's going to affect them. Unfortunately, that's the stuff we got to look at. It's sad, but it's so true. And I think to a lot of the conversations that we have with the ladies that we work with, and I think a lot of people listening are having flashbacks of like, oh, I remember my mom did this. I remember my mom said, finish your plate, or we're just like that. We've always been that way, or we're not those kind of people, or all these really fucked up identities and belief systems around this stuff. Again, almost every woman that I can think of that I've talked to recently that we work with has like the Weight Watchers moment where like they remember at 8, 11, 9. We even have some really, really interesting cases where the mom was on like a diet pill from the doctor and it's like split it in half and it's given it to the 6-year-old. Stop.
I'm dead. I had a lady recently tell me that one.
Wow.
When she was like 6 as a chunky 6-year-old, she took her weight loss pill that her doctor was prescribed to her and split it in half and gave it to the 6-year-old.
Man,
like
that breaks my heart.
It's terrible. But the fucked up part is, and this is something from, if to flip this a little bit more of a positive spin, every family has the one that like comes in that changes the course of the family dynamic and the history of it. And I think it takes a lot of ownership, and I think it's important. Where that person needs to decide that, hey, my grandma struggled, mom struggled, I struggled, my daughter's not struggling, and there needs to be that I'm the one. Right. So. Yeah. I mean, my mom, I got fucked up for my own mom. But the thing is, I can't blame her because that's what she knew. Like when you know better, you do better. And she didn't know any better. And so it's up to me now that I know better, I'm doing better. And so I'm still doing a lot of unlearning from the shit because diet culture runs deep. Yeah. Deep as hell, So sometimes I'll catch myself about to say something to my son and I'm like, fuck, what are you doing? Like, just get that out of your head, because I think we're all still working on ourselves continuously. So it's a work in progress for sure. How does someone build that awareness? Like, let's say you have someone listening and they're like, holy shit, I do that. I'm fucking up my daughter every time, but I don't even know I say these things because it's so subconscious at this point. Right. How does someone start becoming aware? I think they just have to really pause before they start saying shit out of their spewing vomit out of their mouth. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, once you hear yourself in your brain start to think these thoughts, don't open your mouth. Reflect on, okay, why am I thinking this? Where is this coming from? Always think about your child, like, how is this going to affect them? And it's not easy. I mean, you may obviously say some things you don't mean, but you just focus on becoming better every day. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think so much of the game of fat loss and changing your life, it's just an awareness game. Yeah. If you think about what all calorie tracking is, it's just hyper levels of self-awareness around food or practices like journaling or meditation. All it's doing is getting you really hyper aware of your thoughts and emotions and meanings. But I think it's the one superpower, if that would fix almost anything, a marriage, a business, even as a business owner, you want to know when things start to go south or a problem arises early. You want the awareness. Like, I feel like awareness is the biggest thing that fixes everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Awareness is key, and it all starts there.
Yeah. I've noticed, not with like diet culture terminology, but I've noticed, totally unrelated, and I'm sure you will feel me on this pain. I'm a super uncle, right? Like my brothers are having children like it's a contest, and I love the girls, and they're all nieces.
Yeah.
Well, the oldest one, name's Lila, she's like, I don't know, in her twos. So she likes to repeat a lot of words. Uncle Jared says a lot of things. So I am having to do a little bit better with not. I'm basically trying to swear less in front of this little fucker. Yeah. But it's in a way. But like, I don't realize how much it just like flies out. But because like, you know, like. I know I shouldn't probably swear as much in front of her, and like I asked her brother, my brother, her dad, do you want me to swear less in front of her? And he's like, it would probably be better. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do better.
Unlike me, I'd be like, I don't give a fuck. Right. My son throws some F-bombs around, but he knows when
that's right,
when to do it. When he has
like,
good
wait till the teacher walks away and go like fuck yourself. Wait till the teacher walks away.
He'll ask me, is it okay to say fuck? I'm like, go for it. He's like, fuck.
Go for it, buddy. That reminds me of a really funny clip I want to share. But it's an awareness game where like I didn't realize, so I'm like, okay, like I'll be like, oh, that's so flipping stupid, right. And I'll have to catch myself. But it's not perfect though. But I think it's the same thing with a lot of parents that are trying to fix their verbiage around their kids and stuff.
And it's like, you know, if your kids are overdoing it on the chips and whatnot, who's buying that shit?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, who is buying it? You're keeping it in the house. You don't have to buy it. Your kids are like, well, that's all they eat. Well, why do you think that is? That's all you buy.
It's all mama eats.
You have the money. You're buying the food. Yeah. If you suddenly stop buying it, they may for a couple of days be like, where's this? I want this. Don't give in. Just be like, yeah, this is, you know, we didn't get that this week.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, leading by example. You don't need to buy the food. You know, it's have your kids cook with them, teach them the importance of protein and fiber, how foods make them feel, how other foods, you know, make them feel. Yeah. It's important.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't know if you saw it. There's a comedian that talked about it. There's a clip with the whole like swearing thing. Is this, the dad takes his kid fishing, and that's when like boys are allowed to talk bad, you know? And so the fish like flipped and like poked him with one of like the dorsal fin thing or whatever. And the kid's like, oh, Dad, can I say a bad word? And the dad's like, let it out, buddy. You do you. And he goes, the fish is stupid. That fish was a dumb fish. And he's like, let it out, buddy. And he goes, that motherfucking fish. And then he let it out. It was the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, but I thought you'd appreciate that. But so let me ask you this. So from the deeper side of things, this is actually one of the things in my notes. So for you, what are some of the deeper reasons that people struggle? Because we all know, like, if you're not losing the weight you want to lose and you're sucking, it's probably because either you're not in like the calorie deficit, you're not getting enough protein, you're not being consistent. But other than like the surface level, like calorie deficit, protein, workouts, that stuff, what are some of the deeper reasons that people are not getting? They're failing, blatantly honest.
They don't believe in themselves. They don't believe in their ability to succeed because they have consistently thought they have failed, only because they have failed because they have done things that are unsustainable consistently over and over and over again. So in order to believe in yourself, you have to create these wins for yourself and realize that you can succeed, or someone else before them made them feel less than, and they're like living in the past.
How does someone who's like, all right, well, I've only failed for the last 30 years. I've gained back these 10 pounds 100 times. How does that person build up the wins and the self-belief if all they've done is fail?
You have to, if you're working with a coach, the coach will have to help you, you know, set you up for success with making you or helping you do things that are actually sustainable and that you can be consistent with. creating small wins instead of having you do a million things at once. And because you're setting yourself up for failure at that point. You know, the smallest win, like doing something that you know you can do consistently every single day, you're going to feel good about yourself. And no matter, let's say, drink freaking 3 glasses of water a day. You do that all week. You're like, yes, I fucking did that, you know? So giving yourself things that you can actually finish and do and win at.
I think you said something really, really important. And I don't even know if you realize you said it, that I think a lot of people go south with the whole win stacking thing because I think it's so important, but they think their wins are only outcomes versus you just described actions. Like I checked the box of the 3 glasses of water. And I think people don't realize how much the action and the act of keeping the promise they made to themselves is such a win. They're like, oh, well, the scale didn't move, so it doesn't count. Or they have the disclaimer of, oh, it was only a pound. I saw you made a post about that this morning, right?
It's like add that shit up.
Yeah.
You know, it adds up. Some people don't need to lose 24 pounds in a year.
No.
So it's like, you know, we got to stop focusing on the weight loss and focus on all the progress that is not weight related. Yeah. Because that's the shit that matters.
The thing that an analogy I've been giving a lot lately that seems to be resonating is a transformation is like a book but a book is made up of hundreds of pages. Yeah. But like if you have, let's say, a 300-page book and you turn one page, that you did not make a dent in that thing. But then you read one more page. Still no dent. Every day, one page, no dents are being made. And it's like, it's going to take me a year to finish this book or take me however long. But everyone wants the transformation, but every page is like half pound. Yeah. That one day, extra day of being consistent when I wanted to quit. The half inch that's down. Oh, I would have binged and I didn't. Right. All these micro wins. And now at the end of a year or two, now you have the book you wanted. But most people, if they're willing to deny the page, they're going to deny the whole transformation. Yeah. So
it's like a baby, right? A baby. I mean, think about a baby. Like first they're like rolling over, right? And then they're starting to like sit up, and then they're starting to crawl. They're not fucking walking coming out of the womb. No. But it's like you treat yourself like you're, you know, a toddler that should know how to walk when they actually come out of the womb. It's like, that doesn't make sense. Are you going to get pissed off at your kids? You should have been fucking walking right now.
Should have been dancing out like, that thing.
I can't believe you're not walking yet. What's wrong with you? Right. I mean, that's how you treat yourself.
100%.
It's insane.
Yeah. I love that. That's so I'm a little jealous, to be honest. I didn't come up with that analogy. I'm gonna have to credit you every fucking time I use that now.
I just made it up myself just now. So.
Well, I pride myself on being the king of analogies. Like I get introed on podcasts as the king of analogies, and that's like that now you're gonna get credit for that every fucking time. but I think that's important. A lot of people I think feel like they should be effortlessly, intuitively eating, being consistent perfectly and have no struggles out the fucking proverbial womb. Right. When it's like, no, bro, you're literally like this lizard looking baby that's like, can't even like open its eyes. Right. So
I'm having a visual.
All babies look like lizards. Yeah. All babies look like little, like half, God, they're so cute. They're precious. They're all the things, but like every mom that talks shit about every other baby, like your baby looked the same way. Like all babies look the exact same coming out of the can, so to speak, you know? So, but at the end of the day though, like you're exactly right. Where most people feel like they should be like strolling out that thing in the world of fat loss. And it's like, that's not even practical. I know. But what do parents do when the kid like sits up, moves its head for the first time? Oh, get the camera.
I know. Like first word. Oh my God, they said my first word. It's like, you got to treat yourself like that. Like give yourself fucking high fives for doing the smallest task that you couldn't do before. Yeah. You know, if you're eating more fiber now, hey, that's a lot better than you were doing fucking 2 months ago when you were like 0 fiber, not even shitting. You're fucking constipated all the time. You have, you know, good bowel movements now. I mean, give yourself some credit.
Yeah, that's so good. Like, so again, my brothers are having children like a contest, and the one is my little brother's kid is the newest, and she just rolled over for the first time. Like, I got a text message.
I was going to say, did you get a message?
100%. I got there's videos in the family group chat, and I love it. I think it's great, but I think you're right. Each person needs to be that excited. And most of our women, the women that we coach, are all moms. So they get it. They're like, oh shit, I sent that picture like to 18 fucking people.
Yeah.
I was like freaking the fuck out. I posted on the timeline. Actually, I think it's funny. Even moms will be like, you're 3 months old. Yay. Like
right?
the kid existed for 90 days
Yeah.
and you're excited. But when was the last time you were excited that you were 90 days on your plan?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like, hey, this was my 10th workout. Holy fuck.
Right.
And I think you're right. I think people collectively need to do a better job at being astronomically excited for every little milestone.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be using that analogy all the fucking time now. Damn it! I'm so shitty. I didn't come up with it.
You were like
I've got my cornerstone analogies like the brushing the teeth, the egg carton, the like all these different ones that like people freak out about, and now I know people are gonna freak out about this, and it's good old Beth Feraco. So. I'm just like I have a buddy of mine who gave the perfect example of like why it's so tactical and important to enjoy the journey, and he gave the best analogy of date night, and I am so shitty I didn't come up with that one either. So now every time I do these badass analogies, I'm like, well, that was Ranbir, that was Ryan, or that was Beth, or that was whatever.
Ryan's got some good ones too.
Yeah, Ryan's got some clutch ones. So we're probably going to be doing another podcast whenever he comes to visit. So
yeah. Oh yes.
In-person podcast or is this so question?
I love this.
Is this
it's
better?
so much more like, I don't know, we're just having a conversation.
Yeah.
Rather than in my
just
kitchen
holding
on
these
Zoom.
giant fucking dildo looking things.
Fucking my hand is going numb, but that's okay. I'm just kidding.
Well, all of these went into a carry-on for those that are listening.
I can't believe that you fit all this shit
So
in a carry-on.
but there's no way I could have put 2 more mic stands in it. It's almost like we're at a religious level that I will not check a bag. I'm like,
oh, me neither. Like I will shove everything and just I'll step on it and
dear God,
like literally that's what. And the thing is like bulging, but I'm like, I am not checking this thing. Fuck that, because I don't want to wait for that bag. I don't want the bag to get lost. That's happened to me before.
Yeah. I can just picture you in the airport like fuck, and then just stomping on this thing like a WWE match or something. Like the people's elbow trying to get this thing shut.
Yeah.
My thing is I've just heard horror stories about shit getting lost, and like what if like all the shit was lost, right? If I had all this stuff,
my God,
it'd be terrible. But then also I've only checked the bag like once or twice, and we've almost missed flights because the person didn't get there early enough to like hand it off to them at the airport, and like there's like 30 people in front of me because the person wasn't there, and I'm like, I'm never doing it. I will pay for an extra carry-on, or I've got like the biggest carry-on you can possibly buy.
That purse, mine that can fit
like
a fucking small baby or 2. Okay,
like I've smuggled a child. Like
pretty much,
actually,
my dog can fit in that.
Oh my gosh! Fun fact: I have a Mastiff.
Do you want to see him?
It's like a purse made of spandex. You're just like, it just keeps going. I love it. Why do you think people are so quick to shit on themselves though? Like this is what I think is so interesting. No one would ever fathom saying the shit they say to themselves to their worst enemy.
Right.
But why is it like I was talking to someone the other day, they hit their like 50-pound mark and they started talking shit. And I'm like, bitch, go to the gym, grab a 50-pound dumbbell and hold that motherfucker in front of your face. And she's like, oh, I can't. I go, oh, because it's a lot of fucking weight. Right. Why do you think people do that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Why do people do that? I mean, I feel like it's at that sometimes it's like a habitual thing of just consistently shitting on yourself your entire fucking life. I don't, it's that believing in yourself. It's that self-efficacy. I think it always comes down to that. They're still putting themselves down. They're still, or like I said, they set themselves up to such high standards that they're never going to be happy. And that at that point, that's more like, you probably need to go talk to somebody. Yeah. If you're consistently just not happy with yourself, like where's that coming from? Yeah.
I think it turns into a big gross feedback loop. It's like, like binge restrict, like the binge causes the restriction. The restriction feeds the binge and it just doesn't stop. I think a lot of people, it does the same thing as they feel terrible about themselves. So they talk shit about themselves and then set themselves up for failure, which makes them fail, which makes them feel terrible about themselves, which makes them talk shit about themselves and feel bad about themselves. And it's this vicious feedback loop.
It's like the thoughts ultimately dictate your actions. Like if you keep talking to yourself like that, you're going to start acting like that. So you have to change your thoughts. Yeah.
I think the other piece that goes in with that is I think people are so controlled by their emotions that they can't separate. It's like, if I feel it, I must do it. Or if it's a thought or a feeling, it's doctrine. So it must be true. Right. Versus you can totally feel like shit about yourself and have your actions go the other way and
Yeah.
treat yourself well or show up for yourself or things like that. But
Start changing the way you speak about yourself too, and you're going to notice you start to feel different.
100%.
You know?
I've had this idea for years, and I know I've never pursued it from like the entrepreneurial side because I know no one would download it. I've always thought a dope idea for an app because like Siri listens to us all day, right? Well, if it's listening to us all day, I think it'd be dope to have an app that reports at the end of the day how positive or negative you were. That listen, because I mean, so here's the thing: if I go, hey Siri, and then she turned on, that means she's been listening this whole time.
Right.
The only way you can, it's just how it works. So if Alexa or Siri or Google Home is listening all day, I just think it would be dope if that bitch printed out a report about how self-deprecating you are or about how positive you are, how grateful you are, whether you're talking about the past, whether you're talking about the future.
Yeah.
Like in a business, reports are gold. Like P&Ls are like super important. Like all the things to know where the success of your business is at and where needs adjusted. But if your phone's listening to you all day, I think it would be a beautiful idea if it gave you a report of what you talk about, how you speak about yourself, how you speak about others, your general vibe, and then says, wow, you're a toxic piece of shit, and gives you a grade at the end of the day.
Can you imagine?
No one would download it. That's why I've never even pursued it. No one would download that thing.
You never know.
Mine would just say I swear a lot. So that's really it. You're a bad Uncle Jared today or whatever, but that's
bad
funny.
Uncle Jared.
Yeah, that's right.
A bad fucking Uncle Jared.
Yeah, bad fucking Uncle Jared. It's fine. But if the worst thing I do is say bad words, that's
It's
okay.
so funny to me how many people just get bent over about me swearing in my videos, and it's never men. It's always women.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that you just put it, like if you hit the reply to the comment and you make a video about it. I think it's great.
It's like you fuck around and find out. Okay. People love to fuck around and find out with me.
I'm the king of fucking around and finding out.
It's like, okay, you think I'm afraid,
Yeah.
And I get them all the time. So I just pick and choose. Sometimes it'll be like weeks and this one person will just be like, they won't stop. And I'm like, all right, you're done. You're done.
I don't understand. Like, that's why I think I commented on one of them the other day. I said, I feel sorry for this person's dog.
Oh, that person. That one was one that actually she was going to all these videos on TikTok and just, on all my videos just saying shit. And it was going on for a little bit. And I was like, okay.
It's like straight up stalkers almost.
You're
like
fucking
they're making.
I do.
They're like making multiple accounts to come on.
It's fucking weird. I had this one woman, Carol, that I had to unblock.
Carol
on TikTok. And if I do an anonymous
Can we put
Q&A,
an on the screen,
Carol will be in there. And because it's anonymous on Instagram,
of course
I can't find her. So she will consistently be in my anonymous Q&As and be like, it's Carol. Can you unblock me from TikTok? And I'm like, fuck you. No. And I'll put it's crazy.
Could you imagine your life being so terrible?
Yeah.
That that's what you chose to consume your day with. Like, I'm grateful that out of your busy vacation, you're spending an hour of it here talking about this stuff, let alone imagine your day being so shitty that the best thing you can do is go to Beth Feraco at Beth Feraco and talk shit.
I think it's funny, but it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird how the anonymous Q&As, I do them just because the crazies come out sometimes in those questions.
I love it.
It's like, okay, who's going to say what? It's like they just call themselves out in their own, the one that said about the alcohol, the other day. What did they say? It's, I can't believe you talk about all this processed foods and diet soda. And then you talk about alcohol, and some of us don't have a problem like you do, kind of thing. And it's like, well, you're missing the whole fucking point. Okay. Processed foods and diet soda aren't a problem.
Yeah.
But alcohol is. It's like, I don't make the fucking rules.
Right.
It's a fucking carcinogen.
Yeah.
Class 1.
Yeah.
Kills 140,000 people a year.
You can totally drink diet soda and drive.
I was like, you can drink diet soda and fucking drive. You can't drive if you're drinking. I just don't, the logic, the emotion that's so tied with people's alcohol is fucking weird. Mm-hmm. It's so normalized.
Yeah.
People don't even realize the problems that they have with it because they don't give themselves a break away from it.
Yeah. I completely understand. I know people in my life that didn't realize it until they got rid of it, and they're like, oh shit, I didn't realize how mentally foggy I became. I didn't realize how much I looked forward to this, and almost went from just I want to enjoy a glass of wine to I really need the glass of wine, and becoming dependent. And I didn't realize how shitty I felt, because that's the thing is it's like a slow death by 1,000 cuts. You don't realize until
It's too late.
It's way down there, you know? So,
yeah.
Because we talked about your journey with alcohol in the last episode, I believe, and stuff. And that's incredible that you were able to change that side of your life completely.
Yeah.
Do you guys get a lot of people who resonate with that and like you intertwine that in coaching and stuff?
Mm-hmm. We have a lot of people in coaching that either struggle with a relationship with it or are already sober or are working on, they don't maybe realize that is a problem until they work with a coach. And of course just because I'm sober doesn't mean everyone has to be. Like I don't push it on anybody.
Sure.
We just make people realize, okay, so is this holding you back from the goals that you're looking for? Like if you're drinking every single night and every weekend you're, leaving calories for your wine and not eating food, we got to take a look at that.
Yeah.
You're menopausal, you're drinking all the time, you feel like shit. Well, maybe you should cut that back because that is pouring gasoline on the fire. It's like we have to look at why you're doing it, how much you're doing it, and how is that affecting your life currently. That's important, which people don't. They're using it for stress, to relax, but it actually is doing the opposite. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. I have a really interesting question to ask you, and it's going to be completely controversial. Oh shit. I have my own opinion on it, and I'm happy to share that, but I'm curious of yours. Do you agree? This is totally left field. Do you agree with AA's approach to getting sober?
You know what? It worked for me, but only because that's all I knew. I actually went to AA every day for a year. I left. I have not been back because I felt no one was growing and everyone was literally staying the fucking same. I felt like it was, everyone was stuck in this, AA was created, I don't even know, a long time ago. A long fucking time ago. And I just think it hasn't grown with the way the world has grown. I probably would have went more on an online approach if I knew that it wasn't really around then. But I'm not a big fan, although it does work for some people, and it did work for me. Yeah. I mean, it did what it needed to do.
The one thing, and I think this applies to anything else, like contextually, the one issue that I had, because people compare like I've had people that say like, oh, is there like AA for food addiction and all this stuff. So I've looked in and studied like AA and their stuff. The one problem that I have with it is that they basically reinforce the identity of an alcoholic.
Yeah. And I don't like that either. Like I don't like going in and be like, my name is Beth and I'm an alcoholic. I feel like I'm a recovered alcoholic.
Sure.
Because it's
which means you're not an alcoholic.
Thoughts become things. And I don't want to always identify as this label. Yeah. Why do we have to fucking label ourselves?
Right. Well, the problem is from a deep neural pathway and neurological standpoint, your identity is the filter and governor of your life on a subconscious level. So it's why the person whose identity is I'm a binger because I've binged the last 20 years. 2 weeks after getting sober from binge eating, she hasn't binged in 2 weeks. Yeah. She finds a way to binge. Or the person who is a dieter, when it's tied to your identity, it's interesting. There's a relationship between your identity and your subconscious mind. It's like a mother bear defending it. Yeah. So when your identity stays down here and your results are up here, it's like the thermostat on that wall kicks on and it cools your environment back off to what the identity is. But I think most people don't change the identity. It's like even in coaching, it's one of the first things that we have people fix is rewrite their identity and who actually are you? Because then we align actions and values to that. Yeah. That's who you are. But if your identity is, no, I'm still an alcoholic because I've struggled with alcohol, or I'm a binger because I've struggled with binge eating or whatever it is, we got to fix your foundation mentally first.
I agree.
But I've always had that, but having gone through it and it worked for you, I was just curious. But.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that's one of the reasons why I stopped going.
It would explain why everyone's stagnant.
I felt like everyone kept talking about the same fucking thing. Yeah. I was like, you guys, you've been sober for how long? Well, way longer than me. Why are you still telling the same fucking story? Rewrite your story. Yeah. You're reliving this shit over and over again. Totally. I didn't want to keep reliving my past.
Sure.
I dealt with it. I knew that I had an issue. I stopped. I started growing in other areas, and why keep going? And I'm an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic over and over again. Yeah, it's I don't want to continually
because you're not. You may have been, but you're not an alcoholic. That's the thing. And I think a lot of people, they still in this, even in weight loss, they look at their life through the filter of the old identity because that's all they know. Right. And there's no wonder the mind gravitates to that and your actions gravitate to that. But I for me, it's one of the biggest ways that I see people sabotage is because their identity is this low level version of themselves. And then they get these new high level results. Like the amount of people who I know people who've literally lost like 40, 50, 60, 100 pounds and say, oh, I still feel like I'm the fat version.
Yeah, they still identify as
so
that other person.
You wonder why you subconsciously sabotage on the weekends and get back to square one.
Yeah.
It's because you didn't fix your like this. Like I can't remember what speaker who said it, but most people, their identity in the weight loss world is if they've lost weight, they're like, oh, I got lucky and lost a little bit of weight, versus if someone's overweight, they're like, oh, no, that's not who I am. This is who I am. I'm just going through a rough period of time. And it's because your anchor point is different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's scary. It's scary. It's a double-edged sword.
Right.
But one thing I'm curious about, because of the time of the year, how do you suggest people go through the holidays right about now with this stuff?
Like drinking?
No, I'm sorry. In general, like with weight loss and stuff like that. Like
I don't think people should be really focusing on weight loss during the holidays.
Agreed.
I feel like maintenance is progress. Like learn how to maintain during the holidays. I think every single one of us love the holidays
100%.
And the food.
100%.
I mean, we can't, why would you want to like diet your way through the holidays? I just feel like you need to learn how to live through the holidays because that's fucking life and they're always going to happen.
Sure.
So, stop restricting during the holidays and allow like Aunt Karen's fucking Biscoff fucking cookies. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and also people don't realize that like the holidays, like it's like Christmas is one day.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanksgiving is one day, but people take all these fucking one days and they make them weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And that's an issue. Okay. You don't need to fucking eat like Thanksgiving until New Year's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I call them holidays, not holiday seasons. Yeah. 100%.
Holiday seasons. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. It's funny. I think you can even chunk this back, and it's more, for most people, it's one meal. It's not even a whole day. It's like, it's like lunch at grandma's or dinner at mom's house or whatever. But I think right about now is because like Halloween's right around the corner, and then Thanksgiving and then all the things is, even if you're like, I remember, my wife and I are like the only ones without kids.
Yeah.
So we're the ones that bounce from house to house to house to house and stuff. But everyone in both our families are all divorced and remarried all the way up through the grandparents. So which means everyone has the side of the side, the side of the side. So we've had like, I think one year when we went to all of them, we had like 9 Christmases in like 3 days.
Wow.
But even like if you have a crazy thing like that, where you have like Monday at grandma's house, Tuesday at Aunt Karen's house, Friday at great Grammy's house, whatever, that's still like just 3 individual meals.
Yeah.
It's not like you need to take the whole week and say fuck it and go binge like an asshole.
But people think because of that one meal, they fucked everything up. And then because they have all these other meals, they might as well just eat like shit throughout all those.
Do you have another analogy that I can't take credit for off that one? Fucking asshole. I have a new one I've been giving for that all or nothing, but I've been doing it lately where like if you open up a carton of eggs and one's broken, are you just gonna go fuck it and throw the whole all 11 out? Because everyone uses the tire popping.
I was gonna say, Jordan, I learned the tire popping from Jordan. Like you're gonna slash all your tires because you have a flat.
Yeah, I've been using the egg one lately. I've heard that the tire one like a lot of people use it, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna be different. But so for you, for like a client, how would you be like, all right, here's how you can approach the holidays a little bit more tactically, where you can enjoy, but you don't like obviously gain everything back either?
I think giving yourself bright lines. Most people don't go into situations with a plan. Like, okay, if I know I have a bunch of parties, I'm going to make sure that my day of eating is planned, so I'm not going into the party starving. If I was a drinker, I would say, hey, you know what? We're going to cut it off at 2 drinks. You're not going to have more than 2 drinks. And this is something I would tell myself, right? You're going to make sure you have 1 plate of food, and all the food on your plate is going to be food that you really love. Maybe have some veggies and make sure you get some protein, but enjoy yourself, stop eating before you become full. A lot of people just don't go into situations with a plan. Yeah.
I would agree with that completely. And they go, fuck it.
They're like, oh, fuck it. Like they don't even think about it. They just go and they're starving, and then they go straight to Fucketville. Yeah. Fucketville.
Oh my God.
They take a trip to Fucketville.
Wow.
Fucketville Lane.
Is that on the map? Like, it's over there by like, don't give a damn.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Oh, that's great. Let me ask you this then. So let's say someone goes on their holiday Fucketville, and let's say they go to Fucketville by accident.
Yeah.
They get it, flat, and they're like, oh shit, the only way I can take it is Fucketville. And they do go, oh shit, what did I do? How do you teach getting back on? I know the answer.
The next meal.
Yeah. Like, so no restricting, no like cardio, no like.
You still eat like you would, like you're not going to starve yourself. You're not going to over exercise. Cause that's what people do. It's like, the turkey trot people,
Turkey. Okay. This is a new one. What's a turkey trot person?
Turkey trot, like every Thanksgiving, there's like a 5K.
Oh yeah. The
everyone's
race.
like, we're going to do the fucking race and then we're going to eat, it's like, it's a thing that people do. So they think because they're fucking doing a 5K or a 10K on Turkey Day, I mean, of course you're gonna have fun anyway. So don't take that turkey trot and make it that's your reason for eating like an asshole, which you're gonna do anyway. So
I think that's really important. I think a lot of people, because of their history, have the big habit of, oh fuck, I did all this damage. And then they try to compensate the next day. Like, I don't think people realize how illogical that is. Yeah. Like the way that I compare it, I go, let's say like I got like went on a shopping spree and maxed out like $10,000-$20,000 worth of credit cards. Mm-hmm. And then I decide to like skip Starbucks the next day because I maxed out my credit card of 10 grand.
Yeah, that makes sense, huh?
And I'm like, that $3 is going to fucking make a dent. Like, okay, I'm going to work an extra like couple hours at work at $10 an hour. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But that's the equivalent when people like binge their face off and have like 5,000 calories because they smash like a whole tub of ice cream and all the fucking stuffing. And then they're like, oh, I'm going to not eat my carbs the next day. Like it's not only reinforcing a horrible relationship with food, but it's actively not doing a damn thing. Yeah. Yeah. But
it's that awareness too.
Yeah. Tying full circle. It's the awareness, but fuck, how have we been going for this long? Dear God.
How long is it? How long has it been?
Almost 45 minutes.
Damn.
Yeah. Look at you. You're just fucking killing it.
Damn.
So to wrapping up, what are you working on right now that you're excited about in general with like Beth Feraco's life, whether it be the personal life, the business, whatever?
Right now I'm speaking at the Real Coaches Summit. So that's like been on my mind. I actually hired a coach to help me with my speaking event.
That's amazing.
Because I want to go in there
and make everyone else look like trash.
Not fucking shaking and not knowing what I'm talking about. Because I know what I want to talk about, but I don't know how to map it together because I've never done that before. And one of the first things when I spoke to her, I knew I loved her, was she's like, okay, I just want you to reframe this first. You're a coach, right? It's like, yeah, I'm a coach. She's like, so you have to be on stage and speak like you are a coach. You are coaching people with what you're talking about. And I was like, wow, that just reframed everything for me.
Yeah. Like, how's it different than what we're doing right now?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, what do you want them to leave with? What are those people coming in feeling like? What are they doing currently? And how are they going to feel after you speak?
That's incredible.
That's fucking awesome.
So what you're saying is you want to make all the other speakers look like trash?
No, I don't think that can happen. I don't think that can happen.
I don't know.
But and then also, so my thing is like, what am I going to teach people? Like, what do I have to teach people? And there goes my negative self-deprecating
some imposter
mindset.
Syndrome a little bit.
So my monsters are scrambling around. So I'm trying to work on like, I do have something to offer. I have 100%. To stop telling myself I don't. Yeah. So it's like, we're just like everyone else.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's important that you talk about that. Yeah. I think it's good. I'm going to be there.
Are you speaking?
No, I'm going to be there though.
Oh, so, yes.
Yeah,
nice.
I'm going. I would
Ryan
love,
too.
I would, Ryan and I are both going. I would love to speak. Ironically, Aram just asked me to speak at the next one.
Nice.
So because his roster, because this one in 2024 he's got all taken care of right now. But I was just on Aram's podcast last week, and we were talking about speaking stuff, and he goes, "Oh, you don't know this yet, but you're on the roster for 2025." I go, "Okay,
that's awesome.
Fucking A, bro!
Yay, that's awesome." He when he asked me, he didn't know that I had never spoke before. Okay, I was like, "No, this is my first one, so thank you, Aram."
That's awesome. That's amazing that you said yes, though. Like most people, no, but like. The fact that you just jumped on it is huge. I think it's awesome.
How can I say no?
You would be surprised.
Really? People say no to like opportunities like this?
Yeah. All the time. Because they're not like I was actually talking about on my Instagram story last night is one of my philosophies I run with in life for me is you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Right. I've seen so many unicorn opportunities. Well, for whatever it is, like an amazing experience, a business opportunity, a networking thing, whatever. And I have been this close to missing. Like I've been blessed enough and fortunate enough to have several in the past like year that like completely changed the trajectory of a lot of things in my life. And if I wasn't like waiting for these motherfuckers, because like I think it's partly for me it's logical. It's you work really hard. It's like the harder you work, the luckier you get kind of side.
Yeah.
Where so like things are going to happen. And then I think there's also the belief that like for me, like I'm meant for something greater. So I think things are around. So for me, I'm so scared to miss them. So I'm just like every day I'm like, is today the day? Okay, not today. That's fine.
Yeah.
The next day, is today the day? Okay, not today. That's fine.
I notice like opportunities will come to me that I'm super uncomfortable with. And I'm like,
They're
motherfucking Beth, you got it. And then I say yes, because I learned from, Hunter, who's my business partner. He was always challenging me. Literally, he was always pushing me out of my comfort zone. And from him, I realized that being so fucking uncomfortable is where it's at.
Yeah.
So I will say yes to something that makes me shit my pants. Okay. Like I'm speaking at a women's strength summit online on November 2nd. I don't talk about strength training that much. Why? Because it's not like my thing. I would rather follow a program than write one. I've never been the one that got super into lifts. I love to lift, and it's super important for women to lift. And I know I'm a, strength or personal trainer. I used to do that, but it's not. I'm more into mindset and nutrition all day long. Like, that's what I study most. So I'm like, motherfucker, I got to talk about strength training.
Yeah. And
I don't really do that much. But I'm like, it's good for me to do that.
Yeah. I mean, so logically, has anything good in your life ever come from being comfortable?
No.
Right. All the magic happens in like the unknown,
Exactly. So
along these lines, I just got asked last night to speak at this event.
That's awesome.
So it's not like a spot like Lane Norton or is speaking.
Like kind of like last time when you were
so I don't know
the last NCI event, right?
Yeah. So I don't know how long this one's going to be. They asked if I want to be on the business. They're doing a business panel, like an open Q&A forum, like me and a couple other like coaches that have like successful businesses that way. Because the whole thing is this event is, I guess, all about the education side. So I like Lane speaking, Aragon speaking, like how to coach better, but there's a little bit of a business thing for like, all right, how to apply this to make money and like be successful. So but I got asked last night if I wanted to help with that. So fuck yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
we're gonna be like, sorry, no, I can't do it.
Sorry.
I mean, really?
Right. But I think it's one of those things is to even apply to the people listening, where it's the same thing for like result. You don't know when the day your results are going to come. You don't know when, like we all have had that moment where we're walking by a mirror and we're like, oh, I didn't realize I could see that now, or whatever the case is. I think people don't realize how close they are to their goals. Yeah. But when we are chasing and like desperate, we're almost pushing them away. But it's almost like, you know what, I'm going to do my due diligence, work hard, and be consistent. And then I'm going to let this unicorn moment come to me when it's ready. I think there's layers to that.
Yeah. But everyone's a beginner at something at some point too. We have
100%.
to remember that. Like, and then the way I think about these speaking events and things like that, like, no one is going to look at you or me like that we are, friends with or, coaches and be like, she fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Because they've been there too or will at some point be there. So that's what I have to put in mind. It's like, my friends out there or whoever is, listening to me is not going to be like, I can't believe she did that.
No. One thing I try to remember, and this is, people can apply it wherever. No one ahead of you is talking shit about you.
Right.
The people, let's say someone's in the back. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Beth said fuck in front of 700 people or whatever. Right. Like that person is not doing anything noteworthy. That person is not happy. That person is way below you. Anyone that's at your level or above you is cheering for you, even if what you did wasn't so perfect. Right. Like when people are scared of what people are going to say about them in the gym, on top of like no one giving a fuck. Yeah. The people that would talk shit about you in the gym are degenerates of society.
Absolutely.
They're not like someone that you want to strive to be like, so
yeah, agree.
I love it. Girl, this has been amazing.
I know, this has been so much fun.
Thank you so much for coming over here and doing this. So that's why when I found out you were coming, I'm like, we got a podcast when you're here. So
yes,
I love it. Where can people find you?
BethFeracoFitness.com, Beth Feraco Fitness TikTok, Beth Feraco Fitness Instagram.
Oh my gosh, it's so hard.
Cut the Crap with Beth and Matt on Spotify, iTunes, and anywhere you can listen to a podcast.
I love it. Hell yeah. Thank you, girl. I appreciate this.
Thank you. I want to cheers with the mics.
Cheers with the mics. That's going to be a thing. And we are back. Thank you so much for tuning in once again to today's episode of Dieting from the Inside Out. I know if you stuck around, you got a ton out of this episode. Be sure and do me a favor. I have only a couple asks for you. Number one, be sure and reach out to Beth and tell her that this was a game changer and how much you appreciated her coming on and sharing her knowledge with you. And if you can, do me a favor and tag her and me if you screenshot this and throw it on your story. I love seeing those. I love resharing those. So if you got a lot out of this episode, share it with a friend or screenshot it and throw it on your story, because the only way we can finish this mission and get this content to the most people is by you guys sharing it with your friends and on your socials. That way you're not the only one who stops struggling, but everyone you're around stops struggling. And that's how we get the mission fulfilled of helping the most amount of people get permanent change. And that's what this is about. Now, if you haven't subscribed, be sure and do that. If you haven't left a review, be sure and do that. Now, I do have a few goodies for you before you go. If you are newer to the podcast and you're not as familiar with me or my work, and you are struggling, to have a few spots for you to go to. Number one, you definitely need to join my Facebook community, because most people on this journey are lost, they're alone, and they don't have a home base. Like the husband or, your partner doesn't get it. The kids don't get it. Your friends are insecure. So when you start losing weight, they start poking fun at you, all the things. You need a home base of like-minded people who are growing and who are on this journey with you, doing it the right way so you can get to where you're trying to be. And I have cultivated that completely for free in a Facebook group called Fat Loss Simplified. So it's free to join. There's a link below. I'll make sure you get accepted. I put tons of training, tons of resources. My whole staff is in there, and it will help you more than you can imagine. Like I said, completely for free. Now, let's say you aren't quite sure where to go, what to do, or you're new or getting started, and you're just like, I don't even know what to begin with. I have a course for you. So I have a free course called the Fat Loss Checklist, basically going to show you how to make fat loss as simple as possible, where it's not that big of a deal. So it's a free email course. You go through it at your own pace, that kind of thing. So there's a link below. Just put your email in, the best email so I know where to send it to, and you can go through it completely for free. It's a game changer as well. And then if you are the kind of person that's sitting here and you're like, I'm just tired of doing this on my own, I've failed more than I've succeeded, and I've been dieting for longer than I can imagine, and I'm ready to just stop thinking about it, and I wanted to show up and execute and not have to figure this game out. That's exactly what my coaching program is for. So if that's kind of your cup of tea, definitely you can apply for coaching below. And because you are coming from the podcast, and I have a special place in my heart for my podcast listeners, you go straight to the front of the line and you can get right on our calendar so we can see if this is a good fit or not. But otherwise, that is it, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Dieting from the Inside Out. I will see you next week.